Everybody, it's your boy, Sam, again, a.k.a. the Train Mother Main. My Sharpies and Blarpies and Kirbies. Please subscribe to the channel. Join my Facebook group, Global HO and Scale Proteges, or whatever the hell it's called. Just type in Global Train Model Railroading on Facebook. Please comment, like, criticize, tips or tricks, Tony Hawk style. Whatever you guys want to do to contribute, everything's appreciated. So once again, if you are not a fan of the intros, I don't know what to tell you. I wish I could help you, but I can't. But I'm glad you're here. So I jumped the gun a little bit. I know my theme of this new layout build was to document in progress as much as possible. But, this week after work, a couple nights, I came down here, watched some basketball, some baseball, and put in a few minutes. Nothing too groundbreaking that you really missed out on. So it seems to be another theme that Saturdays and Sundays, the weather's been crappy. Had a few nice days during the week. And then the past 5 weekends now, including this weekend, once again, it's 39 degrees and rain, wintry mixed snow. So it's still layout season. So as you can see, I started messing around with some of the foam scape. That's what I'm working on today. I'll get to that in a second. But what I worked on this week was the logging camp scene. You already know where the lead for the logging camp is placed. And this week I went through and started working with the track plan. I'm super happy with it initially. Nothing's glued down or permanent, but I did start to cut some sections of flex track to length. So it's somewhat of a robust industry, but I didn't want to make it too complicated at all track plan wise. So we've got a load or empty track, as in pulling loads and parking them to be interchanged, or pulling empties and parking them to be loaded. So that's what this will be for, or just a general track, I guess. Secondary, we've got these two for the saw table. So I'm assuming I'm not going to put anything in here as to leave kind of room, So things will be unloaded from there, let's just say. And then over here, I've got where the wood sheds, lumber sheds will be stored. And I'm going to have definitely one track lining up to be loaded like flat cars or gondolas with product, let's just say. I have not decided. I'm really, really racking my brain because I love the way that this all looks, nice and clean, but not too complicated. Easy to switch, but also fun to switch. About putting a second track in right here. I do have a big S-curve here, and it's nothing too complicated. Like I said, this is all just mocked in. So once I get this all final, I'll just have to be real careful as far as making sure everything lines up with no kinks in the joints and all that. And I'm just kind of having a tough time deciding whether to put if I want a second lead here. I really do. Just, let's say 3 or 4 cars, probably 4 car lengths, and then have a second one that can hold at least 3, of whether I want to put it over here somewhere and have it curve in as a longer lead. But then I'm taking up a lot of real estate here where I kind of want to put the road, like a little wood grade crossing for the yard and stuff coming in, or putting it, up here, meaning I'd have to straighten this out further. And then these tracks would both be shorter because I'm going to obviously have cars on this track. I don't want to foul the switch. So I know it's not a huge dilemma, but I'm definitely soaking with that for a few days. I'm not just going to cut track. One thing that I've really been conscious of, and I think it is a huge point to be made, I'm using my Pico turnouts, and I never solder my turnouts ever into or out of, just because if turnouts go bad, and sometimes they do, I want to be able to replace them very, very easily. But I'm using Code 80 Flex Track. So before I even cut any of these sections for my main lines or for my turns, and I took the same notion into my industries, I want to have every piece of flex track that I'm using be as long as possible without creating joints. So just like from here, you know, there's no joint until I get to this turnout. And then from here, if I put in a secondary track, there's going to be a joint here and here, or here and here. And then same thing beyond, just like over here. From this joint, there's no joints all the way to the end. And then, you know, right over here, I just used a normal 10-inch piece, not flex track, just straight track, Atlas sectional track. But these two, I took one long piece of flex track of the normal 2.5 foot sections, and I cut them after I knew how long I wanted them to be. Point being is, I'm going to solder all my main tracks together, and also want as little joints as possible for, I don't mind soldering, but I don't want to solder as much as possible, because if this is one long piece of track without any joints, it's going to have continuous power. If I had a joint right here, I solder it fine, but that's just one more little spot that could potentially be an electrical issue. So I've accomplished that goal pretty well to my liking, and I think it's going to, like I said, bode well for electrical conductivity and overall realism. So again, that's kind of where I'm at with this. I want it to be a nice big wide yard. I'm going to have this gently, very gently sloping down to flat here. Going to have my big log piles. Want some product, like finished product here. Definitely want to have a nice road coming in, and, you know, truck park, all that good stuff. If you go look at my previous shelf layout, you could see it was very similar to this, but on a smaller scale. And then if you look at the huge previous layout to that, it was very compact, and I think it looked really cool, but it was not suitable to my needs. And then back over here, I'm gonna just have a very gentle sloping hillside behind these, nothing major, and kind of have it get hilly again right here. So without a portal, the main line will disappear out of the scene. So down over here, this piece of foam has been here. Nothing's glued yet. Started cutting today. I want a nice sloping hillside, not steep and not like 17 feet tall. Nice gentle slope so I can have trees and a couple cliffy areas, but a nice gradual slope the whole way down. I was going to put a tunnel in, bridging from about right here. That's why this is cut funny. I was going to have a tunnel starting here and finishing here. Because I didn't want the tunnel to be part of the seam for if I ever need to take these two pieces apart and move them. And B, because I want the gentle hillside, start adding some rocky stuff in here as we get over to the mine section. And then eventually I'm gonna have to kind of cut this in to place the mine stuff. But if you could see on the floor, so that piece of tape is perfectly in line with the layout. And then you come out 8 feet to here, and you could see where the old layout was lined. This is actually here. There used to be a wall here before I moved in, but I lined up the old big modular layout with that. So from here to there is just about 8 feet. I'm seriously considering expanding the layout about halfway. I haven't marked exactly on the table where it will come out, but coming out 8 feet, and then another big loop and going back in. Those tables are 2 feet wide. I'm thinking if I do an expansion like that, do 8 feet by probably 3 feet. So each one of these tiles is a foot square. And I tried to get all this off. I couldn't get it. So excuse the floor for looking dirty. It's really not. But so 1, 2, 3. So 8 feet by about 3 feet. And then come back in and have a nice split scene. I'm thinking a nice little tiny town with a small 3 or 4 track yard and like an industry on this side. Then split the scene, and on the far side, have a little tunnel feature, nothing huge. And then like a bridge, river scene. I'm very convinced that that's what I want to do. But again, you've heard me say on every layout, I don't want to bite off more than I can chew. If I build that expansion, That's going to severely impact where I move or when I move, what I'll be able to do, because I'll have two pieces and then this third piece. If I'm lucky enough to move somewhere that has just under 16 foot of straight space to throw this back in exactly as I built it, perfect. And if it's a 20-foot wall and I have to add 5 feet of layout over here or over there, that can be done. Or if I only have, let's just say, a 9-foot section and I have to mount this here and then mount this, going north and south instead of east and west, I can fill things in and work around it because the fascia splits. I'd have to cut the track to pull these apart anyway, but I have two pieces that can be rejoined any way possible, preferably as they sit, but two pieces that are both open-ended. And I would have to put in a Y to add this expansion. So we'll have the northbound going here and then the southbound, or you know what I'm trying to say, coming out over here. And if I put a tunnel in, it's going to severely affect those operations. Whereas if I just put the Y coming out and then, it'll basically just be expanding the main line. There'll be no need for a tunnel. I'll still have this be open and hilly. And then where the tables meet, just have a nice rising hillside to split the scenes. So again, that's something I'm seriously considering. Part of the problem, like I said, is just, I know eventually I'm going to be moving. And I said I wanted to take this layout exactly as it sits and take it to my new place and then build off of it from there because the construction and design is so simple. In my mind, I know for a fact I can go to Home Depot. It's 3 miles up the road. I can go buy my 1x3s, a couple sheets of hardboard tabletop and another 4x8 sheet, and then just like some 1x4 legs. Probably put... buy some legs too, just a couple, and probably just put a leg in each corner over here and then just mount a piece of wood, have to cut the fascia to fit accordingly, mount a piece of wood to the existing benchwork where the fascia is cut and screw the new table directly to that with some lag bolts. Without any legs necessary, these shelf brackets will take the weight. So again, I go spend, $80 on material, come home, spend an hour and a half building it, and I've already got expansion. I don't know if I'm going to or when I'm going to. At that point, then I'd need to go buy a lot more flex track, Pico turnouts, road bed, and that's just to get the main line around, and then more pink foam. So it's as easy as it would be. It would be an expensive process. So that's just a quick little update. What I'm also going to do today is finally screw the fascia in completely. I just put on the temporary screws just to get it in place and make sure it all lined up, which it did. And if I do expand and have to cut it, I can, if I'm going to cut here, let's just say, I'll do a screw right here at the end of the existing fascia, and then I can Dremel off my straight lines while it's mounted. So I'm going to get that done. Just wanted to give you guys a quick little update. I'm not going to actually film myself do anything in progress. You don't need to see me cut foam and fit foam. It's pretty self-explanatory, and you've seen me do it in previous videos. Again, though, this is why I have, going on 4 layouts. Yeah, 4 layouts worth of saved foam scraps because I have not had to purchase any pink foam for this layout aside from the bench work. Everything else is scrap. I know for a fact I'm taking my good old time because if I had it my way, this track would have already been glued because I know I like it. I just want to make sure that everything is tip-top shape. I'm working on one side of the table and thing at a time. Like I said, the lumber side, and I'm working my way this way so that once I get to a certain point, everything has flowed from one end to the other instead of I'm going to work on the mine scene for 2 days and then do some foam work and then do track work down here. It's just a mess if you do it that way. So quick little update, nothing special. You don't need to see me cut foam. Once I get more of this foam worked in, the next video, I'll probably show you shaping some of the foam. My techniques that I use, hand tools. I'll actually show you how I lay my track in these industry yards and leads and all that, because There is some technicality to it to get it done right, which I learned the hard way on the first layout. So stick with me. I know this layout update probably the shortest of this series, but I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you sooner than later. So things are coming along. Like I said, this is the 8th or 9th video of this layout series. Trying to be as in-depth and informative as possible. So if you agree or disagree with that, let me know. And also, if you guys have channels or want me to check out your stuff or subscribe, let me know. So, all right, Train Main out. Peace.